Greetings and welcome, everyone. It's AllYouCanGeek Gamecast, episode 409. I'm one of your hosts, Jim Gast, joined by Mike Sneedy.
What's up?
Corey Feinsod.
Hadouken.
And Tony Korkanakis.
Sure you can.
There we go. Welcome, listeners and viewers, to 409 of the Gamecast. We will do a topic tonight. If you haven't heard the movie cast yet, we are doing our top 5, in that one, martial arts movies, and in this one, fighting games. So we'll do a consensus top 5 list in this podcast. First things first, we do have a little bit of gaming news to get into. Then we'll get into what we've been up to, and then we'll get into that list, which, again, we did finish the movies. If you haven't heard that one, please listen to it. We did get into a lot of Bruce Lee talk, but you can't. Who doesn't want to hear about Bruce Lee?
You can't talk.
Yeah. Martial arts movies, it's hard not to mention Bruce Lee.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, who's that guy?
Yeah, and so it's a very good episode. Listen to it. Anyways, moving on. Gaming news. Shenmue 3 is release date, we think.
What?
Yes. So
It has a date. Yes.
We think. I said
It has
we.
a target
Flexible.
date.
Very flexible.
It's
It has a target date.
it
Not
is
denying that.
a year away from. It's August 27th, 2019.
Mm-hmm.
PC and PS4. What do you guys think?
Sure.
I thought it was weird to date it at this point in time. Is that because they just decided to let's get this anchored in? Yeah. Okay.
Yes. I'll be on the side of optimism and
I will say
August.
delayed until November.
I don't think it comes out in 2019 at all.
I still say try to get it.
Did we have a bet that's coming out before 2020 or something?
I think I did bet you. I think you and I do have this bet. I have to hope it gets delayed. I think I did over 2020.
It's close.
Oh my god, I think we do. I have to go listen to that. I'm almost certain because I would have taken past 2020. I would have done that. Wow, yeah. And then Bloodstain got delayed till 2019 now too. So a couple of Kickstarter games here getting pushed.
And that's kind of why I don't think Shenmue 3 is hitting it, because like just the scope of that game is a bit more complicated and whatnot. And I feel like we've seen less of Shenmue than we've seen of like Bloodstain, because I mean that's had like 2 or 3 demos at this point, and it's still.
I can't believe Bloodstain got delayed.
Yeah, and that's fine. Like the thing is, like, I would rather have it delayed.
Sure.
And
after Mighty
make it a
Number
good
9.
game, than just delay or like release a shitty game. Because like we saw with Mighty Number 9, you just said like it's delayed, and that wasn't part of the issue. More of that was like communication. They didn't convey it. They're like, no delays this time. It's like, okay, last delay. It's like, nope. And like would just like wait and go silent mode months and months and months without any news.
Yeah.
But I would rather have them take the time to polish it up, make it the best game it could possibly be, and then release it. And the upper echelon of that was like, how Shovel Knight turned out. Shovel Knight got delayed, I think, at least a year, if not more.
Just because the game is delayed doesn't mean it's terrible.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But Shenmue 3, like I said, it's just a bit more grand in scope and, like, graphically, because you're working with a 3D environment, all that stuff. And just, I don't know, I feel like if it does get released in 2019, it's not going to make most fans happy. I just feel like, and that's just a gut feeling. I have nothing to really base it off of. It's
just because we all know what that game entailed in the first one, and I felt like they actually, although if you look at the smaller scope of the second game, they might be going for that, and that might help them get this game out sooner. So
this will be 4 years too.
Yeah.
4 years. Yeah.
Yeah. So. But like I said, I'm okay with Bloodstain getting delayed as well, because we don't need another Mighty Number 9. I'm okay with them trying to get it right.
Is
exactly.
So packed.
And they gave you that little teaser game too, Curse of the Moon, whatever.
Right, exactly. So I feel like that was enough to like subside me, just scratch that itch for now.
Yeah. So, all right, Grandia 1 and 2 coming to Switch. This is a remaster in HD, right? We're gonna actually get a remaster or remake?
HD
remaster. They're going to up-res the thing. Yeah. They're not going to recreate the game.
Yeah, it's not a remake.
Oh, okay. So Grandia 1 and 2 were great games. I don't know how they're going to translate as a remaster to look, because they're old. They are very old games, but we'll see. Also be coming to Steam. What else we have? Oh, talking about Steam, look at that tie-in. Look at that. They accidentally unveiled their Twitch competitor, Steam.tv, and then obviously pulled it back immediately. But Steam had
it's out there. The internet will never forget.
Steam had a big run-in immediately with Discord last week too. I forgot to put it on here about Discord releasing their games channel, right?
Yep. They're storefront. So it's kind of funny, and I talk about it in Discord, but I'll talk about it here as well. But like,
yeah.
I mean, the whole thing was like, so as a pretty big PC gamer, Steam has been awesome since the beginning. But one of the weakest parts is always like communication, because like you either had to get in the big early days it was like Skype, but Skype is a system,
Ventrilo,
Source Hog,
yep.
and then it was like Ventrilo, and then all these other ones. I've had so many over the years, TeamSpeak, all that stuff.
Yep.
They've all been like good, but like it was just always like terrible because you either needed like server numbers or like everybody be on different platforms. It was just really terrible. So Discord comes along and just comes out and makes this great app that is universal. Like you can use it on mobile, you can use it on PC, whatever. It can be client based even. So you even need to like install it on a thing. You can just go to a web browser and type it in. You have a friend list. You have your own channels and stuff like that. And like just there's a lot of functionality behind it. So it's been like a blessing really to gaming everywhere. So it's kind of funny because that kind of kicked Steam's ass into being like, oh, I guess we should really relook into our chat and communication thing. So like they're like, all right, we're gonna revamp it.
Yeah.
Now Discord's like, well, hey, surprise, we're doing a storefront. And I put an asterisk there because it's gonna be like a curated storefront, because it's gonna be at least at first stuff that they want to promote and be like, hey, like this is what we like and we think people should be playing and stuff like that. But who knows how successful it'll be? I don't know if it's gonna be like full-blown thing, but
I think but I think what has like, I mean, this is an interesting development here with Valve looking at doing a Twitch competitor, and if they're going to release their chat client, you can actually have a all-in-one central location to do this, and they have the
right. and that's one that's the one thing that would give them, I would say, a competitive advantage, because and the funny thing is, like, I kind of wonder if Amazon/Twitch is kicking themselves in the ass for not doing this, because like that honestly would have been like a way to like really
it's shocking,
hurt these other people.
Everybody seems to have their great service and they sat on themselves for it. They just sat on it.
Yep, absolutely.
So missed opportunities.
It'll be interesting. I am not too high on Steam overall right now, just because like their policies in the past couple of years, not even related to like this paltry discounts we get these days, but just like the way the company is running and like all the reports we're hearing. So I don't have much sway in terms of like, oh yeah, you're gonna get me back on Steam and stuff like that. But it's always good to have competition, in my opinion. I
do. You look what happens. We're just mentioning discounts. GCU is going away. That competition's gone, and now guess what's going away? Is Amazon Prime's 20% discount is effective the 28th of this month. Soon, like. At least Best Buy is keeping you active on your subscription if you have it. Amazon's just saying, nope, that's it, we're gone.
End of an era, man.
Yeah,
end of an era.
That was
I haven't paid full price for a video game in 5 years?
Oh, yeah, easily.
Like a whole generation of just like...
I've pre-ordered so many games right now to keep that discount at GCU. Everything I can think I'm going to get. And in fact, now that they have dates for Devil May Cry, I'll be pre-ordering that.
Oh, you're
too.
just still active?
Yeah, I have it till October.
I might have to funnel money to you.
Okay.
Because I'm so disappointed. Like,
I still have it. So.
I did what I could before it got out, but there were just some games that weren't available.
Yeah, I think I have mine until November or something.
Oh, good. Yeah, there we go. Even a month later. So, yeah.
But as far as the 20%, I think you can't pre-order something now with 20% because they'll just refund that, I think, is what they were saying.
Wait, Best Buy?
Oh, really?
For Amazon.
Oh, Amazon. No, Amazon said you can still do it as long as you've done it before the 28th. It will be honored.
Right.
Yeah.
Because it's hilarious because as soon as that news got leaked, and like one of the first tweets I saw about it was Wearer64, because obviously he's like the deal man.
Yeah.
But it was funny because later on he's like, oh, look at all these games that are suddenly like charting in like top sellers of like just overall Amazon. It's like all these like new games coming out just started getting pre-orders and stuff. So it's
speaking of a new game coming out, we always do that. Diablo 3 was officially unveiled for Switch. Tony.
Yeah.
Tony.
No. Nope.
Hey, I'll give you credit. You're sticking to it. I thought this would be enough enticing.
I don't know.
I'm getting it.
I'm gonna give you credit because you're missing out on a great game.
I'm getting it. I'm getting it. There's no question.
It's not that. It's here's the thing. I'm sure, just going by what you guys have said, what my brother has said, what Nick has said, like I'm sure the game is much, much, much improved. But the thing is, like, I don't know if it's like something I really am interested in revisiting, because like maybe like the Necromancer, because he wasn't out when I was playing and stuff like that. Or the Crusader girl.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna just.
I mean, you missed out on the whole Reaper of Souls.
Right. So I mean, maybe maybe I'll revisit for just like the Reaper of Souls campaign. But the cool thing is like this on the Switch is having 4-player local co-op, which
cool.
if you guys are like other my friends were like, let's play like Diablo 3 like co-op on one TV. I'd be like, all right, that I could definitely get on board for.
Kind of like becomes a gauntlet. Almost becomes a gauntlet.
Exactly.
Yeah.
A better gauntlet.
Yeah, a better gauntlet. Yes.
Like,
sorry, I just called Diablo Gauntlet. Sorry. But yeah, I mean, this game is perfect for the Switch. I put probably, I don't even know how many, 100 hours, maybe over that, easily in Diablo 3 on PS4.
Wait, probably more, yeah.
I mean, so I'll put that back into this, no problem. So this is day one purchase for me, actually, and that's, I can't wait. I'm psyched.
And it's this year. I mean, it's coming. Yeah, I just want to know what date it is. Like,
we don't have a date yet, but this year.
It has to be. It has to be October, right? It has to be.
Before or after? Because like there is a point that's like after Red Dead or before Red Dead.
I think. Well, because it's coming out on Switch, and the target demographic for the audience, they never, barring like PC people like me or multi-console owners, like Red Dead coming out isn't going to really impact that, in my opinion. I mean, sure it will, like if people are like had multiple systems, but I mean, if you're like a pure Switch owner, like Red Dead Redemption 2 coming out isn't going to make a difference. I think.
Yeah.
We'll see. I hope it succeeds because I love the Diablo brand. I want to see it continue, obviously.
Well,
and stuff like
that. It's Blizzard too. So like this is the first Blizzard game on a Nintendo system in like 15 years.
Oh yeah, since StarCraft on Nintendo 64, I think.
Something like that. Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy, and they say Overwatch is possible too. So
that's
wow, interesting.
And the one cool feature was like there's exclusive content on it for Switch because I think they
Zelda
gave like
stuff.
like Ganondorf outfits or cosmetic stuff.
You're getting Ganondorf. Like you can make the Crusader or Ganondorf.
Yeah.
And you can get the Link costume.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah. And I think there's like chicken pet or something like that.
There's like so much about this game that I just love the mindless part of it, where I could just run through things to get gear and just like mine. You could
the
hardly
loot
pay attention.
Is like the best that they've done, and they actually in this version of the game you can just start with adventures right off the bat. You don't actually have to do the campaign at all.
Oh, that's cool.
So you can just go right into adventures and just like, which is basically just playing the story, missionary, dungeons, whatever, just doing the dungeons and
which is where I'll be heading.
See, that's cool.
Yeah.
And the thing with it being on the Switch, and I guess I didn't think about it with the console versions, like it can't be always online like the PC version.
Right.
So like carrying it around, playing like a Rift or whatever, like on like bus ride or whatever, I could totally see that being like very appealing.
Yeah.
Interesting. You could play this with one Joy-Con, which is
it's crazy. Oh, and then the other thing is because like this is like one of those like worst kept secrets apparently. And earlier in the year we even reported like Blizzard did like the light switch thing with like the Diablo whatever, and people were like, "Oh, Diablo 3 coming to Switch," but an interview came out and they were like, "We swear that like." It wasn't intentional. It was like it was not intentional. It was to market that like freebie or whatever, and you just kind of have to wonder like, really, because I think they said it took 9 months. So I mean, I think it was. It couldn't have been too
before then.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, it's definitely.
They're
saying they got another Diablo project in the works as well.
Yes.
They said they have multiple, so
right. So we know this one. So then, what's the next one?
Yeah, well, that's the interesting thing is because Gamescom is going out, and I think actually there's something else going. I don't know if this is Blizzard at Gamescom or something else, but Blizzard has some panels lined up this week somewhere, and
each of their Lego Overwatch characters.
Each of their big games is getting at least 1 hour of presentation material. So we're getting a new. Small bit of news, I didn't put it up there, but we're getting a new Overwatch animated short this week.
Tomorrow. Today if you're listening to this.
Right. As soon as it comes out. But probably Diablo, and like people are speculating like there's probably Diablo coming to mobile stuff, but and who knows, maybe a tease of Diablo 4.
I don't think we get Diablo 4 until BlizzCon, but
I don't think so either, but
yeah.
They do have multiple Diablo things in the work.
Cool. Let's see, we have Devil May Cry 5's release date, March 8th. To thus clutter up more of that 2019 first part.
So
January, February, March, crazy
The
months.
next 6 months, like as soon as September hits, it's
Yeah, gaming.
Game over, man. Game over.
What I've been watching
game
is
on,
going.
man, game on. That's more like.
That's the thing. Like, that's another thing for like the AMC A-lister thing. I think I'm gonna cancel. I'm gonna be playing games.
I could see that.
Yeah.
I can see it. It's like in September, it's like Spider-Man for sure.
Yep.
Dragon Quest is coming out. I'm sure there's a.
Before Spider-Man. That's like
Oh, that is. Oh shit.
It's like the Tuesday, and then Spider-Man comes out on Friday.
Yeah, and then October.
Well, I'm a Tomb Raider fan too.
Oh yeah, Tomb Raider. What comes out in October? There's big stuff.
Red Dead.
Red Dead.
Oh, is that Red Dead? Or is
Yeah,
that...
Red Dead's 26th.
Assassin's Creed's coming out
Yeah.
for people.
We
You
gotta
got Battlefield. You got Call of Duty. You got the Battle Royale modes.
Yeah.
PUBG officially releases on Xbox on the 4th of September.
Let's see. So then the last bit of news we have here is Spyro Trilogy getting delayed, right? So
I put that up there for you, Mike. How does
Yeah.
Ashley feel?
Oh, she doesn't know about this yet. I'm gonna
You didn't tell her?
Oh,
I
So
was gonna say,
yeah,
like, I forgot she was really into that. So yeah. Do we
I'll
have
have
a
to
release
tell
date
her,
for this or
so.
no?
it's November something that says now, so it's not huge, but
November 13th. Yeah.
yeah,
So yeah. All
still
right.
something.
Yep.
Gives me more time to play Spider-Man.
Yeah. So. Okay, let's get what we've been up to. I'll kick us off. I've just been playing a lot more of Ni no Kuni 2. So
get back in there.
It's like, yeah, I'm over 10 hours now in the game. It's
10?
fine.
That's it?
Yeah,
Dude,
that's
you've been
good for
playing this
me.
game for months.
No, I haven't. I played God of War for a long time. I got back into it at the beginning of this month. Ni no Kuni.
Okay.
So
he restarted
you
it.
had
Yeah.
it for months.
I had to restart
restarted
though because I had no idea where I was. I've had this since
Wait, you
launch.
restarted the game?
Yeah, I didn't know what the hell was going on. I had to restart. I had to.
There's not like a journal feature or anything?
Yeah,
or
but it's like I can't figure that out, so I just started over. I wasn't like 6 hours in or something like that. I wasn't that far. So
You're insane. That's
Yeah.
like a whole new game. That's a whole other game you could have played.
I just restarted to get the. Now I know where I'm at, so I know what I'm doing now.
That's right. That's right. Just-
But yes, so
Beautiful game.
The game is really nice looking. The combat is actually okay. I've got some boss fights now under me. Still very easy, but I'm playing it through to the end. I'm going to finish it before Spider-Man. I'm going to put some time in. I promise it's going to happen this weekend. I'm hitting it hard, and I know it's like a 60-hour game. I think the story. I don't know. But there's some really stupid stuff in it, and I hope that doesn't take over, because there's like some tactical combat parts that are really bad, and I'm hoping that I'm not forced to play that constantly. So that's what I'm hoping for. If I am forced to play that constantly, it's not gonna be good. But I'm enjoying the story more now. I think that they're not really developing other characters yet for me, but the main character is obviously his story, but I didn't think he was the main character with the way that the game started. So, but whatever. So, enjoying it. Looks amazing. Music is great. So far it's been pretty good. So that's pretty much it for me. Besides Shovel Knight, I played more Shovel Knight because I never finished that game, believe it or not.
nice.
Yeah. So I
Switch or
on the Switch, yeah. So I went to my parents to puppy sit because they were out at a wedding, and I had to watch the puppies for 6 hours. So I played a bunch of Shovel Knight. So yeah, and I never really I just restarted that as well because I'm like, I never really played through this, so I'm going to start from the beginning on this. So I will finish. How long is that game?
Not long, but
I can do this.
But you could have probably finished that game in the 6 hours if you got him back from Ni no Kuni 2. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
I mean,
okay.
you do what you want.
Yeah.
But,
Well, it's already been done,
Yeah.
so it's already been
Yeah,
done.
I
So,
know.
but yeah, and Shovel Knight I can play with that. I'm playing at work when I have free time now, so I'm enjoying that. So I think that will be my 2 games to finish before Spider-Man, and then.
and that's like the
Spider-Man.
base Shovel Knight, right?
Yeah, base Shovel Knight. Base Shovel Knight. So I never really played through it. I liked what I saw from it, and you've raved about it, and I'm just like, well, I'm going to really sit down rather than what I did before, which was, and just play it. And it's great on the Switch because I can just
successful
bring it with me.
Kickstarter game.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yep. That's like Mike's like the best Kickstarter game in my
So-
Hollow Knight.
Yeah. Huh?
Hollow Knight.
I'm sorry. Best game that oh god, dude.
Because if we're talking Kickstarter games, I mean that's Kickstarter game too. You might not have backed it, but it's made because people backed it.
Oh.
So just saying.
Yeah, well, okay. Hold on. I would say
If it's got Knight in it, apparently it's pretty good.
yeah, I would say Hollow Knight is better than the main campaign of Shovel Knight, absolutely. But if we were to say like the whole package, like Shovel Knight Treasure Trove, which is going to be like
The
all
3
four
campaigns.
four campaigns.
Well, 4 with the original.
Right.
4 additional.
4 total.
4 total, yeah. 3
I'm sorry.
3 additional. Yeah.
Okay, 3 additional. The whole package, that would be hard to top. We'll see. It's God. Why'd you do that, man? Why'd you do that?
Corey froze.
But speaking of Shovel Knight, actually,
okay.
So, oh man, we didn't even talk about it. So much to talk about, but there was a Nindy Direct because Gamescom is going out.
Oh.
A lot of like Corey, I forget which game you had mentioned.
Moonlighter.
Yeah. So they showed off that. They showed off a couple games, but I guess the big announcement was Windjammers 2, which got like a resurgence into Windjammers HD port. So that was cool. And then they're like, oh well, stay tuned for even more indie news coming up. So with the way that it happened, it seemed like all of these people were the European developers, and PAX East or PAX West is next week. So for the past couple of years, we've been having the Nindy at PAX event. So fingers crossed. I'm hoping Shovel Knight's going to be there with King Knight as the last playable campaign.
Nice.
So we'll see.
Cool. Mike, what have you been up to?
So I've been trying again with Witcher 3.
Yes, you've been talking. You couldn't wait for this. Go for it.
Yeah, so all right, here we go. I'm maybe 5-6 hours into the game. So I'm waiting for these great story side quest things that like change the world. And first of all, none of the side quests so far. I'm only in the first. Well, I'm now in the second area, but I was only in the first area at the time. First of all, one of the first side quests, called the Demon in the Well, was the solution to it was so obscure that I legitimately thought the game was glitched. So I looked it up. Mm-hmm. It wasn't glitched. I had to be somewhere at a certain time after having read something. Do it. It's fine. It's dumb. Whatever. Nothing seems to come of it. Move on. Okay, that was maybe a bad one. Another side quest I do is some guy steals something and runs away, and I knock him down, tries to fight me, and then I'm giving him the option, this big moral quandary of, do I kill him, let him go do what he was doing, or take his medicine and let him go? So I went gray, I took his medicine to let him go, and I'm like, well, I need medicine anyway because I'm getting my ass handed to me already at these low levels. So I'll do that, I'll be gray. Of course, I let him go, he says mean things to me, and I don't see anything in my inventory. So it was fake medicine, another great side quest. Great. Okay. And now I got to this point where I did a story mission. I'm now under-leveled, even though I feel like I've reasonably explored, and I'm getting wrecked. I can't do this, and I'm trapped in this area because it's a story mission. So there's nothing really I can do other than go to easy mode on difficulty. So I went to story-only mode, and we'll see if that makes it better, because the combat itself I just don't understand or care really to get good at. So we'll see, but right now it's not impressing me, and I don't really understand the unending praise of this game. Like, I got shot through a tree earlier, things glitched weird. Like, this is not a polished game, but again, we'll see if the story picks up and like if that's what does it. But so far, like, I do not understand it, but I do want to continue playing it at least. So
okay.
That's something.
All right.
That's been it, though.
All right.
I was going to say I could not get into it. I think I
couldn't
played
either.
10 hours.
I tried to. I played 6 or 8 hours, and that was it for me. If it doesn't hook me by then, I'm done. I'm not getting into it.
I've heard that the combat is like the worst part about it for being like universally praised, and if a game has terrible combat, I just can't sit through it.
Yeah,
although
combat can carry a game a lot like God of War,
just
but then at the same time, if it's really bad, it will just bring it way down.
Yeah,
it just feels tedious at the moment, and I don't know if maybe the RPG elements can offset that by just like equipping all the right crap to like get through things easier, but the combat itself just don't do that much.
Oh, see, that's a part where actually playing a game like that on PC would be better because you could mod the shit out of it. Like one of the mods I saw was actually like every encounter, every fight you can ever do in the game has been replaced with playing that in-game card game, Gwent. So it's just like, it's kind of like Yu-Gi-Oh! Dude. It's just like, come up, it's like, let's duel, and it's just like, play cards. It's like, you know what?
That was my favorite part of that game. Is the
That's the other thing that I think I can't appreciate about this game, because I never have patience to learn card games like that, and like, I just saw it once, and I'm like, well, this is like a. Like, should I just pick up chess now? Like, what am I going to do with this? So I decided not to, like, even bother with it. And I feel like that's where a lot of enjoyment, like, on the side comes from for a lot of people in that game. Not me.
Yeah. All right. Where are we? Corey.
Well, actually, I took advantage of a GameStop promo.
Oh, yeah?
And I updated
yes.
to an Xbox One X.
Yeah.
Because I could get it basically for nothing. So I was like, well, I got these games I'm not using, and I got $250 worth of credit towards this thing, and I have pre-orders for stuff that I'm not going to actually
that you just did to use the credit, yeah.
So I'm like, well, you know what? I'll throw this in the X, because my S, not that it's bad or it's running poorly, it's just like it's slow, and I played so much Destiny on this game.
Do you know what's funny is, just a side story, like I went to help my nephew at my parents, because again I was there with the puppies, and they have an S there, and I cannot believe how slow that console is. You don't realize it really until you go back. You're like, holy crap, the X is so much faster. But go on, sorry.
So yeah, and so one of the promos was that they are giving $250 for your S system, which is better than you do for Black Friday. I mean, it's like ridiculous.
That's like virtually retail, yeah.
Yeah. So because I think like last year their promo was $100 for it or something extra. It was ridiculously bad. So yeah, $250 for it, and whatever. I get the X system, but so I get it with the 1 month of Game Pass and PUBG, plus they're giving you a free game of your choice.
Yeah.
Of course, it had to be an Xbox One game, but anything at $60 retail value. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna get the game with the highest trade-in value. So give me Madden 19.
Nice. Perfect.
So I got that, and I was like, I'll just pop it in real quick and play that a little bit, because I'm gonna probably just trade this in. And you know what? Actually, they have this long shot mode, which is like a story RPG in this football game. I was like, this is actually, I found myself, I ended up playing it for like 2 hours. And
wow.
All right.
So I was like, wow, this is actually kind of cool. And like, I'm really into football right now with the Jets and preseason going on. And fantasy football starting up. So I'm like really into that. So I was like, and this is like cool. I was like, man, I would just love to have like a golf story type football game on the Switch.
Football story.
Yeah, I want to play as like, I'm going to be the quarterback of my team and get drafted and like have an RPG like that. That would be fantastic. And this kind of like scratched that itch. So I was like pretty impressed by that fact. And I'm like, oh man, I just love the franchise modes in those games like back in the day. And so I want to try to play a little bit of that before I bring it back to them. So I know like the trade values, you get guaranteed like half of it back. So
there you go.
So I've been doing that a lot actually.
Okay.
But yeah, the X is so much faster compared to the S, which again wasn't slow, but like when you swap them out, it's significantly better.
You don't really notice it until you go back. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like like you were saying. I think we were talking offline, Jim. Like if you're gonna get a third-party game, you want to get on the best system. And I don't even have a 4K television, and I've already seen the difference.
Super sampling. It's super sampling, right? Is what they call it.
Yeah, it's just it's crisper. Like it just looks sharper. And the games
they run
they load faster, like significantly faster, and. Yeah, and just everything about it has been very impressive.
And a lot of them have been patched or have been designed to run on variable frame rate, so this will run at their max frame rate. So
yeah, and I'm actually very curious to see what because they announced this at Gamescom too, I think, which Master Chief Collection's coming to Game Pass on September 1st.
Yes.
And they're updating it for the X, so I'm curious to see what that's going to look like.
I'll be honest, like I've been really close. I've been really close the past 2 years to get it, like pulling the trigger on Xbox One, but like if between the Xbox One X and now, all the stuff they're doing with backwards compatibility, like, just like, and, that's a topic I want to talk about one time is game preservation. Yeah. But, like, if Halo Master Chief Collection was, like, good, because, it was broken,
It's been broken forever.
For the past
it's still trying to fix that.
If it actually works, I will probably get an X this
Yeah,
season.
there's some massive patch coming out for that soon. They've been working on it forever.
Well, they've been
so-
working on it. Yeah.
They want to get it good and up and running for Game Pass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Because it's a system seller for Game
Yes.
Pass.
It is absolutely a system seller, and like the thing is, like, I would totally love to play like, God, like you know, like we usually have like a annual like
Halo party.
Fragsgiving or whatever it
There you
is.
go.
You know, Thanksgiving weekend, and like it's just such a pain in the ass having to like get original Xboxes and you put them on like the modern televisions people have. It just looks so gross and like blurry and just like, holy shit, we can't do this.
Can't even read shit.
And then the S controller is great, but it's just like it's not, you know, the Xbox
It's not the
One
Xbox
X,
360 even, or the
Right. Yeah, exactly.
You're talking OG Xbox, yeah.
Right. So if I could relive like those old glory Halo days, that's a system seller.
Yeah.
Plus all that other stuff. So.
Yeah. So
And they just
definitely
announced a
doing
shitload of bundles too at Gamescom.
Yeah.
Like,
I
wanna say,
really
like,
wonder
8
what they're going to
bundles.
do, what kind of aggressive sales they'll do for Black Friday for that this year. I really wonder.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, because we already know something else is coming out. It's on the horizon, so like they're probably going to heavily discount something here. But I'm surprised that GameStop's giving out that much money. I'm like, you're talking, $250.
Well,
you could buy an Xbox One S for less than that.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure a lot of that is like Microsoft cutting them some.
Pushing them, yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Sure.
They're getting incentives, I'm sure.
So. But then, I'm still playing a bunch of Dead Cells.
Yeah, you know, that's a game I want to get, but I'm not. I'm going to wait. I'll go back on sale.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those games that you just pop in for like half an hour.
That's what it is,
minutes. And it's like that and Gungeon. I love going back and forth between those games because they're just so easy to get into real quick.
That's what it is.
And every time I go to play Xenoblade, I'm like, let me just throw this in there for real quick because it's like a quick thing, and so it's like distracting me, and I really
dude, you just gotta do it. You have been playing Xenoblade for months.
I did play it actually, which I was gonna get to.
Okay.
I did finally say I'm gonna play this game because I was on this amazing run from Dead Cells, and I had like the perfect loadout. I had a legendary, like a gold sword that gave me health and everything. And I had the 2 turrets on both of my triggers.
Nice.
And bumpers, whatever. And it's like, this is amazing. Like I'm doing so fantastic.
I'm unstoppable.
And then I got the Ice Blast. So I like the god roll for me as far as like my loadout goes. And then I freaking get like. I fall in the pit. I go down, because you can jump down. But then there was nothing below me. I'm like, oh shit, and I just fall. I'm like, what the fuck? And I had like no health left, and I didn't have a potion. So, so then I was like pissed off. So I was like, oh, let me get Xenoblade in. So I played that, and I'm still in the same area, and I realized I'm a little under leveled for this one boss that I'm fighting, and then he just keeps coming with more ads that come in, and so I was getting wrecked there because I hadn't played it for a while, so I was like. Not fully in tune to with what I needed to get done, and so I kept messing up on certain things, and people dying. Like, oh damn it, now I can't do my ultimate thing because I need to So then I was like, I need to, really need to focus on getting back into that. So that's the plan coming up soon because I got like a week. Before.
You need to do it before Spider-Man, dude.
Yes.
Absolutely need to.
Yeah. And it's fun. It's a little bit. I know you guys are gonna say something, but I'm actually a little more excited for Forsaken than I am for Spider-Man.
Okay. I saw the commercial on TV. Forsaken.
Destiny expansion.
Yeah.
Destiny, and that's coming out 4 days or 3 days before Spider-Man. So
okay.
I'm like, oh no, what do I do?
I'm waiting a week for Spider-Man anyway, so.
Yeah, I can't play it when it comes out either because I'll be away that weekend. But...
yeah, that's a busy week for me too. That's first week back work, big work week, but.
Yeah, but no, I mean, I've already pre-ordered it through Best Buy, so it's coming.
Of course. Cool. Tony.
Dead Cells. Like Corey.
I really want to get that game.
It's so awesome just being able to fire it up.
Yeah.
And like Corey said, you can play it for a good 30 minutes.
They had a pretty
session.
AMA on Reddit.
Yeah.
Talk about some stuff, and there's new content coming. There's a lot of stuff they're planning. So
cool.
Exciting.
And it's definitely challenging, but you can't look at it and be like, I'm not gonna die. You have to die in this game. You have to die. There's absolutely no way you could just boot this game up and
you're gonna lose soul cells. Whatever.
You're gonna lose it.
I lost 27 once.
27. That's nothing. I lost 60 once. I was so close.
Okay. Well, So there you go.
Yeah.
I killed everything. I'm like, what the heck? How? I didn't kill.
But because of my trip last week, I started Octopath because I had a lot of flight time.
Oh, there you go.
So that game is This is really awesome.
Gorgeous.
Like the music, it's gorgeous looking. It's old school meets like new tech and stuff like that.
Now, are you doing the Octopath? The characters?
No. I did. I started with Ophelia. I want to say.
Well,
like
there you go. You got the O.
I'm very interested to see what you think of that whole game. Like because it's on hold for me from what I've heard from it. So I want to know what you think of it totally. Like when you finish the game, I really want to know if it was like worth it. Good game. Like I've been waiting for you to start this, so I know if I'm going to get this.
That I got to play before.
Well, I know I want to get this game, and it'll be like an end of the year purchase or something like that, maybe or something. But like from what I heard from it, I'm like, it doesn't. I don't know. I want you to play it and let me know.
You played it. I mean, you played the demo.
Yes, but then I heard about like what people were thinking of it, and
everybody I've talked to said it's been really good.
It's very good.
The only person that I know has not liked it is fucking Jason Schreier, and I love Jason Schreier as a journalist and investigator.
And he's
writer.
an RPG guy too.
And he's an RPG guy, but when it comes to taste, he hated Xenoblade Chronicles 2. He loved Ni no Kuni 2. Loved Persona 5. Had like no criticisms about it, and then hated Octopath. I'm like, dude, really? Like, come on.
Well, the one guy that's on Giant Bombcast, the newer guy,
Who?
the newer guy. He just had like surgery and.
The guy that sounds like nasally.
Yes.
Nasally guy.
Yeah.
Like this
yeah.
thing.
He didn't like it. Not that he didn't like it.
He sounds like a fucking mouth breather.
He's playing the whole game, but he's like, I know he was disappointed with the way the story worked, and that would be disappointing for me too.
So I mean, the one thing I'll say, and I only have 3 of the characters, but the way it works out is like every character has their like chapter 1, which is like their backstory. Like, hey, this is why I'm a character. So whatever you pick out first, like that's like your main character. But then you could travel on the world map, and then you stumble into these other towns, and like that other character, any of the other characters will be, in their specific towns, and it's like, this is like possibly the point I could see people being. It's like, hey, like I'm in the middle of my own quest, and here's my backstory.
Yeah, but they don't they don't mesh.
Yeah,
right?
it's not like something. Right, it's not like something where it's like Persona, where it's like
there's nothing bringing them together. Really.
Right.
Well, I think the criticism people are having, just based off of what I've overheard, is like you do things in your story with a character that's in the party that becomes one of the main characters, and they don't recognize it later on when you're playing as them. It's like there's no cohesion as far as like, oh, I remember doing this or stuff like that.
Well, I don't know if that happens because like literally my character, like I started with Afia, I've recruited 2 other people. I don't think it goes back to like you restart the game with somebody else or anything like that.
No, I'm just saying like you do things, and then as you play as a different character, like they don't recognize. Hey,
but I'm saying you don't play as other characters. Like I have 3 party members, and like the first person I picked, Ophelia, has been in all of the scenarios so far. Like I haven't played anything without her in it.
Okay. Well,
and like
that's what I've been hearing. Yeah,
right.
I haven't played this. I can't speak to it.
I just heard there's no like overall thing to pull them together. Like I kind of like that idea where they're all coming together for a reason.
I mean, I could see the criticism, but at the same time, like it's almost different because it's normal. It's like nobody, like at least to my knowledge, with 3.
I don't know.
It's not like a save the world type thing. It's not like, oh, this is my destiny, and like I need to recruit heroes and like.
I'm this kid who's like an orphan, and then I find out my dad was this great king that got murdered. Now I got to follow in his footsteps.
Right.
Take the throne.
I'm not talking about that. I am talking about like a world event that draws them all together. But that's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about like one hero kind of thing. I'm talking about all 8 of them.
No, I know, but that's what I'm saying. Like it's more of like kind of like circumstance. Like to me, it feels more like a D&D campaign where it's like, hey, like sure, to me my character's special, but like to anybody else is like, just another fucking idiot adventure. Like okay. Like, and that kind of thing. It's like, hey, I'm the tavern, you're in the tavern. Let me tell you my story, and I'll tell you my story. It's like, all right, I guess we're party up. Like, there you go. Rather than like, oh, I'm, some royal blood, and you're my bodyguard, and then twist, and all that stuff. So I mean, whatever. I don't know. I'm still pretty early in.
And again, like everybody I've talked to that has played it has really enjoyed it. So.
Yeah, but I mean, so far, like the battle system is awesome. Like it makes you really utilize a lot of the techniques you learn and whatnot. And it's funny because as you get all those characters and their abilities, it's kind of like, so Ophelia's one is like inspire, or like you literally like just talk somebody up and they follow you. It's Like you could just like take a random like townsfolk.
She charms them.
No, that's what's her name, Priam or whatever like that.
Oh,
so, like,
Primrose, yeah.
Primrose. So like I have Ophelia, and it's just like, hey, random adventurer lady, like you should follow, or townsfolk, you should follow me. You're really cool. Like, okay, yeah, I'll follow you. And then like Primrose is like, hey, big boy, and it's like, you should follow me. And it's like, all right, I'll follow you. So like you have like this cleric, this dancer. I have like an alchemist, and like these random 2 villagers, and just like they're just following me around. It's like all right, like let's roll with this. Like to be like a save the world thing, it'd be kind of silly because like literally like the one person I picked up was like a bar wench, and it's just like, oh, you have a crossbow move? Yeah, I need one of those right now. It's like, okay, come with me. Mm-hmm. But yeah, a fun game so far.
Cool. All right. Let's get into our topic of the night, our top 5 fighting games, a consensus list. Woo! So, if you all know how this works, we all go through our list here. We're going to kind of compile a top 5 consensus. It's been pretty amicable so far with all of our lists. No big debates about things and where they should fall. So let's see how usually it goes by points. So if it appears on each of our lists, it's pretty highly pointed at that point. So we'll see where it ends up. So,
lots of points.
Let's get us kicked. Let me get us kicked off here with kick.
Pun intended.
Yes. Let's get us kicked. My number 5 for me, Mortal Kombat 2.
Nice.
I can do that.
Yeah. The hours upon hours I used to play that with Nick in his basement at his father's house when he used to live with his parents. Years ago,
good old Mortal Kombat 2 on Genesis.
Forward kick.
Oh, you guys played Mortal Kombat on Genesis? Gross.
Yeah,
I
played it with the Grey Blood, so I played Grey Blood. I mean, I was Super Nintendo.
Well, Grey Blood was only for the first game. 2 had blood.
Oh, 2 had blood. Yes, that's right. But it was forward kick. Forward kick. That's all I remember from what was it? Jade, I think, was the kick, the teleport kick.
That was Melina.
Melina,
yeah.
That was Melina.
Jade wasn't in the second one.
Jade wasn't in the second one, but yeah, then Liu Kang, my man, who I
All
used to
day,
play with. Yeah, holding down the button and doing the bicycle kick, starting off every match that way. Every match that way started that off. But yeah,
and this the constant uppercuts.
Yeah, I mean that game was. It took what one was so popular with how like gory it was, and it was a very controversial game when it came out, and it took that and it just amplified it and it made a better fighting game. Had actual combos you can link together and stuff like that. Really, the first one didn't really seem to have too well underhand.
Yeah. I would agree with that.
Yeah, so it was like, and that's why for me it made the list here for number 5. I got a lot of 2s on my list actually. That's my number 5. Mike, what's your number 5?
Yeah, I'm limiting myself to 1 game per franchise. So, but
I think I did anyways. Yeah.
My Mortal Kombat ended up being Mortal Kombat in the number 5, but it's Mortal Kombat Deception.
Deception. Which one was that?
Yes,
this is your number 5.
Yes, this is my number 5.
Very interesting.
Yeah, what was for that one?
Well, I played all the older Mortal Kombat.
That was GameCube, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And the reason why this was the first Mortal Kombat game I actually played at home on a console, and this game. So it was me like relearning the systems a little more since I only played in arcades before that.
Everybody back, like everybody's in this game.
I don't know. There was a lot of characters, but
there's a lot in that one. Yeah, I remember that.
The thing that made it for me was it had this entire game of a single player like RPG mode. You were Shujinko. You went around to all the different realms. You would sometimes fight people, but it was like this full-on RPG in this fighting game, and that just blew my mind to me. And the fighting was decent, but I wasn't that good at it. I didn't care that much. I learned it, and it was just this big game, and it sort of, to me, it was a little bit of a hint at what they would, or some of those people would do in the future. So it was it reintroduced me to Mortal Kombat in like the 3D, then back to 2D era. That would be later, but it was a big deal for me because again, like I never played something like that at home. So that's 5 for me.
All right, Tony.
Mine is Capcom versus SNK 2.
No, I forgot about that.
Never get into that one.
Dude, like it was one of those things where like this came back when I was in college, and I only had a couple friends that really played fighting games, so it was definitely harder to get them into this one. But this one is definitely one of those ones where like I just played a lot on my own, but then I would actually go down to the arcade and play it because we had a machine on campus. But I just loved the idea of like two companies coming together, where it's like Capcom, SNK, like 2D fighting, pixelated goodness, and it's like, oh shit. And so like they had one, but one was like kind of like just like how we're like saying, you know, it's just the concept, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But like the second ones were like it just vamped it up because like
that's why I noticed that my list has a lot of twos.
yeah, they just got so many more characters, and like the way they did it was just incredible. So like in Capcom versus SNK, you had two styles where it was like either Capcom style or SNK style, because Capcom had 6-button fighters at the time, and SNK only had 4. So and the way like the supers worked and everything like that, it was either like you play Capcom like you could play Capcom characters with the SNK stuff or vice versa, but it was kind of like a little wonky. But with Capcom versus SNK 2, they actually developed 6 different engines for the fighters in terms of like it spelled it out like CAP, so you had CAP, and then for SNK it was SNK. So I forget specifically how it was divvied up, but like I think Capcom was like traditional like Street Fighter type stuff. A was I think Alpha Series, and then P was Street Fighter 3 Third Strike type stuff. So depending on that, like the characters, like some characters are just better with certain things, and the same thing with like the SNK styles. And it just like was so deep because I want to say they had at least 50 characters and like 6 different grooves you could do. Like it was just one of those things where like it was just so fun coming up with like teams to do that. And the other cool thing was you had like character strengths for your team. So I think you had like 4 levels of strength where like you could do like a level 1, like, you know, pick 3 characters and have one be power level 1 and then another one be power level 2, or you could do 2 characters and have be like, you know, 3 and 1 or 2 and 2, or you just go balls of the wall and be like one character but it's strength 4, so just like he does massive damage, like doesn't take as much damage, so like you just like come up with this crazy shit. Just it was really fun at the time.
Cool. Corey.
My number 5 is Soul Calibur. The Dreamcast version was one of like the most played fighting games, and on Dreamcast you had so many good options too for fighting games, which is crazy. But yeah, that one I just remember that's the game that brought Soul Calibur into my attention really, because like it was like a PlayStation game I guess before.
Yeah. Well,
yeah,
it was.
Soul Blades, like
Soul Blades, that's right.
So, but like Soul Calibur, really, like again, the sequel, you know,
yeah,
you refined the engine there and really brought it out to be what it.
That brings what's that? My 4th game is Soul Calibur 2.
Because my 4th was Soul Calibur 1.
Okay. My 4th is Soul Calibur.
Whoa!
Nice.
So I'm the only one that put 2.
And I was wish-washing with 1 and 2 with that.
That was 2, yeah. But it's like Soul Calibur 2 is the one with all the guest characters, right?
Yeah,
but
guest characters. I probably played against friends with Soul Calibur 2.
The reason why I did it because like that was the refined version of like, in my opinion, of the first game. So it was like, yes, 1 was fantastic and it got everything on the map, but like 2 they.
That wasn't 1 though.
Well, no, you know what I mean. Yes.
Soul Calibur is the one that really. That's what I'm saying. That's why I felt like it refined. Okay.
Yeah, so for me, like the bonus characters in 2 weren't the big deal for me, but it was like a really pretty looking game back then too, and not that 1 wasn't, but and it was like a refined fighting system. But I could see 1, I really could, from all you guys put in as 4 and 5, but.
Well, I did it just because again it was the first I saw of this, and just a fighting game with like weapon focus like that was definitely something I wasn't used to, and it was interesting to me, especially coming from my Ninja Turtles background.
You played Maxi. With those
I actually, in a later version when you could create, I created the Ninja Turtles and
So that was one of the first games that had like a really in-depth
the weapon system was fantastic in that.
And I could totally see Soul Calibur 2, but for me Soul Calibur 1 was just the game, and probably just because of this, like the impact, and like that was like the Dreamcast era, and that was like when I was still in high school, so like all my friends were playing the game, like we just go to each other's houses and play Soul Calibur for hours and hours. By the time 2 came around, it was a little later, and a different game came out, which was the Premier Fighter. So like, and I think because of that, like Soul Calibur 2 didn't hit that often. Otherwise I would probably play it higher, but like Soul Calibur 1, like I just love like kind of like what you're saying, like a weapons-based fighter, which, you know, obviously it's a game, but like, you know, they're based on real weapons, they're based on real fighting styles. They
there
do
were
a wonderful
no like super like moves that like were
Yeah.
unrealistic for the characters.
Right, exactly. And like I thought it was so cool how like it had
Not
like
till later.
yeah, it had a very international cast. You know, you had representatives from like all over the world and stuff like that. And it's like, oh yeah, like a mishmash. And then the story was cool, the lore, just like, and the music. Oh, even the music was so good. Like I could listen to like some of those songs, just like
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
That was my number 4.
Corey, what was your number 4?
My number 4 is Mortal Kombat 9.
MK9.
Ooh,
Oh, the relaunch.
That one.
The relaunch.
That one was almost my
Yeah.
5th. That was close.
That's
So
the
Mortal
relaunch.
Kombat 9, I feel like changed the game as far as what to expect in a fighting game.
Well, it
Like,
changed the game to bring it back to its roots. Essentially, it gets back to isn't that the 2D restyle back to 2D?
Yeah, it was.
yeah, essentially. And what it did was brought a story mode into a fighting game that
Sure.
was legitimately a good story mode and made you like, hey, I want to go through this because the story is good, not just because I want to fight. And you're not just climbing a ladder here, but you're actually doing things and changing perspectives and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it really like again like now. You kind of like need that. Like more Street Fighter 5 comes out, doesn't have a story mode, and people are going crazy. It's like it needs to be something small, but at the same time, like
But it didn't have the crypt mode, right? That was in 10.
It still had like
It probably had something along those lines.
It
I
had
don't
like
remember.
a thing. Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, that was the relaunch. I mean, that really is where they hit it right. I mean,
Yeah.
And I think what was important about it is it was one of the first fighting games to show like just because we've been 3D or could do 3D doesn't mean we can't go back to 2D and that's not better.
yeah,
And
Right.
that was
they decided to do that, and that I think that did that predate Street Fighter doing that? Like Street Fighter went 3D and then they went back.
No,
I don't remember.
No.
Street Fighter never
They
went.
dropped Street Fighter 3D real quick.
What are you talking
And
about?
that wasn't even
EX
Capcom.
is great.
Like, they didn't even develop that.
So,
But anyway, with Mortal Kombat 9 though, it also had some really cool guest characters that fit kind of with the with them and like were fun to play. So
Cool.
Again, I really enjoy Mortal Kombat games in general, but I think 9 really was the pinnacle of what they've done, and even with 10, it's even better. So
yeah. Cool.
I love the lore aspect. Like they really added
Yeah.
lore to a fighting game.
Yeah, my number 3 now. It again going back to childhood tournaments in
It's probably my number 3 too then.
Virtua Fighter 2.
Yep.
Yep.
Ooh, nice.
I almost
why-
put the first Virtua Fighter on my list on
The-
the 32X.
Yeah, the amount of we would just get as many of us together and draw up brackets and just pick.
Yeah.
You could have two sides, you pick 2 characters, and you have to kind of make a run with it. And you just face each other. We had losers brackets. We would do that so much. God, and that game
All
was
day,
so
like,
good.
Yeah, 7-8 hours a day on
Yeah,
weekends.
we would do that all day,
Jesus.
all day.
Yep.
Yeah, we do tournaments. We would do. I mean, the sheets of paper. I wish we could find those sheets of paper, just
Yeah,
like
no.
Leon.
Didn't
and-
that?
Oh,
didn't
we
that
had like we were
series
counting
let
how many
you-
times Leon would win, and then like
Yeah.
you'd have to like you'd be a handicap or something because like he won like 10 times in a row at some point. Like,
Yeah.
Didn't that game like instantly save replays of your entire match that were optional there? At least the first
I don't
one
think
did.
it saved. It just showed replays of the.
Well, it
I
showed
don't
the entire
remember
match like
if you
right
saved-
afterwards.
no,
I don't know if they were saved, but it saved temporarily.
I
at
remember
least.
watching like the last few hits unfold because it would show the replay without a doubt. But
Yeah, it would show like what killed like
Yeah.
Ryan
the
did.
final blows
But yeah,
sequence.
it was
Yeah.
so. I mean, and that was again refined. So the first
Play
one was
of the
fine.
game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the first game was great, but the second one was just refined and really put.
And they had a drunken master in there. And
Yep. God, that was
And
so good.
the first one was
Makes
the
me wanna
like
play it.
real first 3D fighter, wasn't it?
Yeah, kind of essentially, and it was like one that like again didn't have special moves in it. It was just all pure fighting.
Real floaty physics.
Yep.
Yep.
But yeah, I remember that game was super expensive in the arcades too because of his
Yeah.
virtual.
I think it was like $1, I think.
Yeah, it was like
Back
one
in
of
the
like
day, that
most
was a lot.
games, yeah.
Yeah. So
But yeah,
Alright,
that's
yeah.
my number 3 as well.
yeah, Mike, you're number 3.
My number 3, which I'm sure is higher on some of your lists, is going to be Marvel vs. Capcom 2.
Mm-hmm.
Again,
A little bit higher for me.
going back to the heyday of Dreamcast, it was just the characters and having all those Marvel
I still have
characters
my
for me.
disc.
Mhm.
Maybe 2
I
discs.
saw it this weekend.
I do too.
It's such
So
a
it's
great combination of characters fighting. I mean, it's just,
Mike's going.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah,
I'm just
but
adding.
yeah,
I'm
no.
adding.
I mean, for me, like what this is, I'll admit it's the only Capcom entry on my list because I feel like other games in the that Capcom does aren't as accessible as this one. I think this one is a little more easy to get into. You can like pull easier things off like without going crazy into the depths.
You can feel good playing this game if you're not a good fighting game player.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was the specific design choice for it too.
Yeah, and of course the Marvel, just all of the Marvel characters, not just X-Men, which was in the previous ones, was a big thing. Of course, it's the second one, but this was the one that hit and just like Cable. You could be Spider-Man, and you could be like
Wolverine, of course.
Yep,
of course.
Magneto, Sentinel, Psylocke.
There's just the number of characters was something like you hardly saw too often before that, and it just looks like it still now looks almost as good or about as good as like a modern 2D fighter.
That sprite, man, the sprites. That's how you do it.
Sprites really
Don't age. So the only thing was sort of the silly, weird, smooth jazz music, but
yes,
sort of like love it.
Gonna take you for a ride.
Yep.
It's like, what kind of ride are we going on?
It was a heck of a song.
Ride the pain train.
Yeah, it was the Cheapville.
Yeah.
Tony, you're number 3.
Number 3, I guarantee none of you guys are gonna have this, but I have to mention it. But it's the Naruto Gekitou Ninja Taisen series.
Is it the one you guys
specifically the 4th one on GameCube?
Yeah. Okay. Yes.
Yeah, like because it was just a big part. Like in my 20s, like Naruto was such a big part of my was like what got me back into anime, what eventually got us going to conventions and like leading to like convention life and all that stuff. But like the Naruto series, I remember like because I had my GameCube and I had actually gotten it modded so I could play Japanese import at the time because I wanted the Soul Calibur 2, like because it was like I think half a year before it came out or something like that, and some other games that were like, oh, this might not ever get released in America.
Plus, with fighting games, you don't need to read Japanese.
Right, exactly. So like I remember getting like so into Naruto, I found out they had like a fighting game on GameCube and it could go all the way up to 4 players. And I was like, holy crap! It was like a 3D, like kind of like arena fighter. So I got the second one, and like I didn't do much research back then, but like a month or 2 later, the third one came out, and I was like, really? Like, okay, like do I have to get it? And I'm like seeing all the characters that are out because like the way it worked was like the characters in each season of the anime was one like that came out. So I was like, shit, I gotta get that one. So I got the third one. But the 4th one was the final entry on the GameCube, and it had like all the pretty much all the important characters you could ever want. So it was a combination of like just like this all-star cast of like all the important Naruto characters, but like it was legitimately a immensely fun game because you could play it 1v1 mode, like just in a traditional fighter, but the ability to go up to 4 players let my friend group do what the most popular was like 2v2, where it's like you pick a partner and then you guys fight. And the cool thing was they had this system where like you could target any enemy player, so you could like combo somebody and then switch targets and like special somebody else, and it really felt like a ninja battle because it's like you watch your guy and like I'll watch my guy and just kind of duke it out. But even beyond my friend group, again, we're going to conventions all the time. This is one of the most played games at these conventions, and I remember like just like battling random strangers because like by this time the arcades had died and stuff like that, so it was really hard to like find people that were like into those fighting games. But anime conventions obviously have huge gaming fans, so I just remember like going to all these things, be like, yo, let's do it. Even like that first Katsucon gym, like Apple and I entered that tournament. I got into like I don't know top 8 or whatever it was, and that was just such a cool first con experience. But it was just awesome game series, and it's like one of those things where like to this day, if like I put that in, I still can like play a fair amount of those characters. Like
I remember even like last summer maybe we were at Apple's or whatever. You pulled that out.
Yeah, it's like it's just ingrained in my body. Like, oh yep, this is the combo and stuff like that, and just like play it perfectly.
Cool. Number 2 for me is Street Fighter Alpha 3.
Nice.
Nice. Yeah, number 2 game for me. I definitely obviously need to have a Street Fighter on this list, and I would have put Street Fighter 2 on here as well, but because I broke so many controllers to that game, it didn't make my list. As a kid, I don't even know how I got new controllers. My God, my parents must have bought me so many controllers. I mean, I used to throw them at that game, but 3 was like, I just love 3's fighting system the best. That was the one with, Ken actually started to vary a little bit between Ryu and Ken. We didn't really have that before. I think that was before 3. I mean, that was obviously
Alpha.
not... Alpha's had it, yeah. I started with Alpha, but 3 was the best version of it, in my opinion, so that's why I chose Alpha 3. So I just enjoyed it. Yeah, it was fluid. It was quick. I mean, the animation, the sprites were great. I mean, it's so good.
I love the bigger, chunkier characters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, me too.
Birdie and yeah.
Like back in the day, I remember because like it was so strange because like you had Street Fighter Alpha series and then you had the Street Fighter 3 series, and I'm like, why would like you make two games that are like so? And at the time, I was just like, I looked at Street Fighter 3 and like I didn't appreciate it because like it was like the more like realistic style.
Yeah.
And like the Alpha series has the more like anime-esque style.
Well, didn't have any characters that you wanted to play as in 3.
Yeah, exactly. Until they got to that third strike.
Yeah.
But like the Alpha series is just awesome and fun.
And like looking at Sagat in 3 or in Alpha, and then looking at him in like Street Fighter 2 and stuff, you're like, what happened to this guy?
What happened
to wait?
Yeah.
This is how Sagat should look.
Yeah. So yeah.
Alpha's amazing.
Sure. Mike, you're number 2.
My number 2 is Super Smash Bros. Melee.
Okay.
I'm not
sure. Like most popular games at Evo.
Yeah.
And Nintendo doesn't care.
17 years later.
Yep.
Yeah, no, and I'm not sure if there's another game on this list that I've actually played more with real people, more than Smash Brothers Melee. It was definitely what we did when me and my friends hung out for a long time, and then even later on, as you said, it lasted on, and other people play it. Even like there's like mainstream like I remember in high school, so mainstream like parties where there was like alcohol, but people were still just playing Smash Brothers. It's like, nah, that's all right.
It's like, I'm good. I got my drug right here.
And it's funny because Melee is still like the one that people bring up as far as
Melee's still.
No, I mean it's still just still feels the best, and like I've liked the characters, the like new characters, without it being too many repeats in that one, and I don't feel like anything has really like happened too drastically afterwards that was any better. So
cool.
Melee's my number 2 for Smash, and definitely one of the games I've played, again, competitively with other people the most.
All right. Tony?
Mine was Marvel vs. Capcom 2.
Oh, so you...
Just going to this stuff. It's
that is my number 2 as well.
Okay,
really?
Yeah, so we can go back to back on this. But Marvel vs. Capcom 2 is just one of those games where, like, it was special. And this is blasphemous, but Street Fighter didn't make my list at all. Because I literally had to think about it, and I was like, I played Marvel vs. Capcom 2 way more than I did any Street Fighter.
Absolutely, yeah.
Like, any Street Fighter. And I feel like I always liked Street Fighter, but like Marvel vs. Capcom took what I loved about Street Fighter, added in characters I cared about, like comic book stuff and like just the various Capcom franchises, and like just made an awesome fighting game out of it.
To tie this in, that's why it's my number 1.
Okay, all right, that's cool.
So yeah, I mean, just that ties into this perfectly. It's just like you guys said. It's like it had all the characters I cared about more. Like you had the major Street Fighter characters, but you had so many other Capcom properties. You had so many superheroes into it. It was just the pinnacle of great fighting games, and it was so fast and so fun.
Yeah, and like the other thing too is, and this is something that I think is lost on today just because of how technology is. But when Marvel vs. Capcom 2 came out, this is like super early internet days. Like they're talking dial-up. There wasn't like the delay between Japan information and American information was huge. So I remember when we got the Marvel vs. Capcom 2 machine in my local arcade, and it was like, oh, there's these characters. And then like the way it did was the machine earned experience to unlock more characters. So like the next time you came back to the arcade, it's like, oh shit, look who, like, this character's in this game? This character's unlocked? Are you kidding me? That's crazy. So like it made it like a cool thing like to experience, like, yep, I gotta play this game at my local arcade so I can help unlock these new characters and stuff like that. But past all that stuff, just like the culture of Marvel vs. Capcom 2 was so awesome because that is like one of the few games where, again, it's just like you can roll up and so many people played it. Like, it was almost universally loved and praised.
Oh sure.
But again, the stories came out of it. Like I remember, like various times, like I'd be like, oh, I got like a half hour to kill at like the boardwalk or something like that. Let me just beat the game real quick on.
That's the thing. Like you would check out almost like, okay, what characters are on here? Time to help out here and just unlock more. Yeah,
exactly. So. And just watching even like competitively, like I always consider myself really good at the game, but like I remember, in the early like the 2000s. We went to New York City for some reason, and we went to the one arcade where like a lot of the pros would hang out and practice. And both Nick and I just got our asses handed to us in this game. We're just like, oh, like okay,
you thought you were good in your hometown.
Yeah.
You're number one in your town.
Absolutely, and that'll tie my number 1. But like that's one of those like things that like it's kind of lost today because like it was just one of those things where like I could beat most of my friends very consistently and stuff like that, or like we'd be like neck and neck, or depending on who was having a better day or whatever. But like if it was ever like like some random friend or some random scrub or some whatever is like, oh, I'm good at Marvel Capcom 2. It's like wallet on the table, like let's do this, like money match, let's go, fight me right now.
Yeah.
So just like it had everything going for it.
Corey, you have that as your number 2 too?
No, I mean, yeah, it's my number 2, and like just to echo everything you guys have said, like character-wise, the artwork is amazing. Just the game, the feel of the game, like
there's a character for
all these characters.
There's a character for somebody.
Yeah, and I mean, I love the Hood, like Little Red Riding Hood.
Yeah, BB Hood, yeah.
It's like just bring out that super bazooka thing. And it's like amazing. Like the supers are just over the top, crazy, and like you just felt so powerful, and like you felt good playing the game, even though you may not be a good fighting game player and get your ass handed to you, but you still felt like you like had fun, even though you lost and stuff. So as far as just the fun factor goes, it's like top notch as far as fighting games are concerned, and I still think it has some of the best art and sprite work ever.
Absolutely.
And that's the thing is like Marvel vs. Capcom 3 I enjoyed, but it was a step down.
And even with that art, you look at it like, oh man, why doesn't it just like do what Marvel vs. Capcom 2 did? Like the sprites are so much better.
And I understand like sprites are expensive, blah blah blah. But then like Ultimate vs. Capcom 3, whatever, and then Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, just like fuck that. It's like the series got worse after it. You know, like I get it, but like.
And I'm sure people said like the gameplay was fine, but like I just didn't want to look at it.
Yeah, I didn't want to look at
it.
it.
Had, like the Marvel vs. Capcom 2, you had the pinnacle of what it could look like, and like, you would want to see.
Absolutely, and like not only that, but like the roster too. It's like on both sides, both sides. Like I totally get it with like the Marvel, like and the whole like Fox, Sony, whatever shit that went on. I understand, but even Capcom, like they didn't put in like many Darkstalkers characters. They didn't.
They made them all unique too. Like, you didn't have repeat like the Ryu and Ken thing where like they were just like power swaps. You didn't have that really. Like, they all felt pretty unique, even though like Cable's kind of like Ryu essentially, but he's plays a little differently.
Yeah, his specials are different and stuff like that. But and on a side note, I hope now that Disney is buying Fox, like I hope they can do a proper Marvel vs. Capcom, whatever,
a real one,
or Infinity, whatever, and like throw the money, give Capcom the budget to like do good work, good work.
Yeah, hopefully. All right, Mike, what was your number 1?
It's hard for me to choose between the two of them. I guess I'll say Injustice 2.
I figured it would have to be that one. That's like
it's got the gear, man.
Yeah,
the
gear. It's just it just
living
keeps bringing you back. But I do think the first one had more of an impact, at least on me, just because it was the first game that I actually became pretty good at. That's a fighting game where I was able to go online and win at least half the time against whoever. Including one time I even played against someone who was a YouTuber, and we had a slow connection. It wasn't the best match, but I did beat him. So I'm like, oh, I can hang at least in some of these circles, at least with a little handicap of a bad connection. But for me, it's just like a combination of accessibility, depth, and just like all these accessories and story mode things that just like it creates this total package in a way that nothing else in the genre I thought has ever done it so far. And it's just and it helps, of course, that I'm a fan of these characters and that it's basically acts as a direct sequel to Justice League Unlimited cartoons with most of the same voice cast, which is another big amazing thing that happened here. You brought back, because who thought like after 10 years at least since Justice League Unlimited wrapped, you'd get like the same core 3 or 4 voice actors back to replay those characters again in this fighting game, and then it's just amazing.
It's what happens when you have people that are in charge of something that like are passionate about it. And I don't want to seem like I'm shitting on like the movieverse, but like you could like that's the thing that bugs me is like you have these people, like the people that made the animated universe, like they care about that, and Warner Brothers hired the people to do this game and that were passionate about it, so like it flowed through, and like you got that, and like it's awesome. I love that.
Yeah. And as far as Injustice 2 and the gear, it's a definite like it's a new thing, and it could have went wrong, but I'm still surprised at how well it went as far as I'm concerned.
It absolutely could have gone.
Some people prefer the like dedicated costumes, and you still can do that, but I think it's a very interesting way to have added replay value going forward.
I remember when the trailer came out, people were slamming them. Like, how can you do this?
It seems like a very bad idea, but in the end, it's just like, action figure collecting with all the different versions of Batman you want to create, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that's my number one.
Cool. Tony?
Mine would have to be Super Smash Bros. Melee.
When MVC2 didn't get it, I knew how to do that one.
Yep. Yeah. And like the thing is, like, I had to think about this for a while, but in terms of like just accessibility and how much I played that game, because the beautiful thing about Smash Bros. Melee, and I'll get into, I'm gonna model a little bit here, but like I was a freshman in college, was making I didn't know anybody because I moved hours to go to Penn State. Didn't know anybody really except like my roommate, obviously, because you have to know your roommate. But the GameCube was coming out. This is 2001. Somehow, all the new friends I was making, I got a bunch of them to come with me to a 24-hour Walmart, stand in line or like take turns like in line so I could get this GameCube because pre-orders were didn't exist back then apparently. Got the GameCube, got like Monkey Ball, Rogue, Squadron. And I think those are the only 2 games I got on launch day. And like those are fine and stuff like that. But it was 2 weeks later, when Smash Brothers came out. And it's like, well, I love Smash Brothers 64, so obviously I'll get this new game. And just like we talked about with all these other games being like the sequels just, took that awesome formula and just perfected it. Like this game was just it was faster, had more characters, had more depth, more items, more stages, this and the other thing. It was just like, damn, like this is crazy. And just, I played with all my college friends, and then whenever like I came back for like breaks, whether it's winter vacation or summer vacation, all my friends back in the East have played it too. So it was one of those things where like, I got to carry that around with me, even though I didn't need the system or anything. It's like, oh, well, yeah, let's play Smash Brothers. And that continued like for years, no matter where I was, no matter who I was playing with. It was one of those things where it's like, oh, you play Smash Brothers? Like, yeah, let's play Smash Brothers. And again, it's like ball on the table, let's do some money matches kind of thing where it's just like, whatever. I don't know. And like, I would say like, I don't know. For me, Smash is one of those things where it's just like a way for people to like just get together and play like video games for hours and hours and just really good times.
Cool. Corey.
My number one is Super Street Fighter 4. And
SS4, yeah.
Interesting.
I picked that one because it's the best version of that game, but I'd have to say like Street Fighter 4, like when that came out, but just the fact that game revitalized the fighting game genre on its own. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
And I would say I was probably more of a Mortal Kombat fan before Street Fighter 4, but with Street Fighter 4 and just Super Street Fighter 4 being the best version of this game, it really like made me appreciate fighting games again and more, and just like the intricacies of how much you can do there. And like I was listening to podcasts about people talking about frames and like what frames you need to do and like where you need to do combos. Like I was like all in on this game. I bought fight sticks. I got
we had
controllers,
pads, controllers,
I mean, it's like
everything.
ridiculous. Like how much like I just like was invested in this game, and just like how much fun this game actually brought to fighting games again. And just like, and again, it didn't have all these bells and whistles like Mortal Kombat 9 with the story mode and all that stuff, but it had everything you wanted in a fighting game as far as the fighting game part of it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the characters.
Well, it had an arcade mode. I didn't. I mean,
but like it's like
I know, but I mean, it didn't have. It's not the in depth of Mortal Kombat.
Like you were saying before, like the fighting part, like the combat part, like that carries your game. And like with a fighting game, it has to be there. And like what they did with this game and the character designs, I thought were amazing. And
and that's the thing is like they returned a lot of the good old characters, but like the new characters were cool on their own too. It wasn't like like what we were saying, Sea Viper was so cool.
And Jury being a Korean fighter finally getting in there was
exactly.
Like, I was like, yes, finally.
Going back to the convention thing, I remember we were at Katsucon again. We're at Katsucon and Street Fighter 4. They're playing it in the arcade room, and we were like, oh shit, like we got to get this because I remember I was so skeptical of Street Fighter 4. Like when they first showed that off,
definitely.
It looked terrible. It looked awful. I was like, this game
very cartoony.
Sucks.
Like they did like the exaggerated faces and like the pictures. And like, what is going on here?
This just looks ugly as shit. But like it came together in the end, and I was like, yep, got to eat crow because I remember we all got that.
Yeah, we all got it. We all played it.
I
played you online a few times. Yeah,
were great, and like the introduction of the counter move that they can do, like with the ink, like shadow thing. That was amazing. And the new character was really good.
Yeah.
So
That's
Yeah,
number one.
just getting into
even that intro song, like do you remember the intro song, Indestructible or whatever like that? It's like so catchy. Like I actually have it as like one of my songs on my gym playlist because it's like just because it pumped up, you know.
Yeah.
I think I had that whole soundtrack. I got because I like the whole soundtrack from it. So.
Oh, and just and the zeitgeist that it created around fighting games again, and Evo just was like huge after like when that came out. Like it became like the biggest Evo ever, and so, it got me so into it again. And like I said, listening to people talk about like frames and where you needed like to play certain things and certain stuff like that. Like I never even thought about that before, but like the pros know every frame of every character's moveset. It's like and like having the training room and like having the grid on the background, and people would use that to like it's like wow, I didn't even know you need to measure moves and like how far you are and stuff. Like you gotta have a grid in the training room, so it's crazy.
Cool. All right, so let's make a list here. We've got 2 votes for VF2, 2 votes for Smash Brothers, 3 votes for Soul Calibur, technically a 4th with my 2, and of course Marvel vs. Capcom 2 is in there with all of us.
That's got to be number one.
I think MVC 2 is number 1, and then number 2 would be
Soul Calibur.
I see.
Melee.
I'd be fine giving Melee a number 2 spot. I would be perfectly okay with that. I don't know, Corey. What would you say?
I mean it was a 1 and it was a 2.
The thing is like there's a 1 and a 2 with that.
The Soul Caliburs were 4s.
The Soul Caliburs were low. I would put Soul Calibur behind Smash Brothers, right at 3.
Yeah,
we're waiting the 1.
I think those 3 are definitely top 3.
I would say for votage wise, I mean we have VF2 twice, so that would be a 4. But then what do we put at 5? I mean there's so many variations, so many games here. We've got Mortal Kombat on here a few times with different games.
All different Mortal Kombats.
Yeah. I mean, Mortal Kombat 9 reinvented it, but so did Street Fighter 4. With the fighting game, brought it back. There's what else do we have on here? SNK. We've got.
I think I love that.
That's lower, yeah.
I think it's really going to be a Mortal Kombat game, unless you guys want to represent.
Injustice. Injustice to represent Mortal Kombat.
Well, I was going to say my argument would be, Mike, to say Mortal Kombat 9. Because that was the game that started that whole area of things. I mean, you could give Injustice that spot, because you put it at your number 1.
But we're talking about games and not series.
Yeah. If I were to, and this is where we're getting a debate. If we're doing like placements, like I didn't vote for any of those games that you put at like number 1, but like Street Fighter, I would have a Street Fighter 4. But that's just where I fall on that.
I mean, I think it's Street Fighter 4 and Injustice 2, which was your official number 1, like, have to be tied, at least tied, because they were both our number 1s.
Yeah, I'd be fine with them being at 5.
You can put 5. You could do a 5 split. That's
5 split.
It's not a big deal.
All right, so here's what we got: Injustice and Street Fighter 4 at 5. That's Injustice 2. Wait, yes, that sounded weird. Virtua Fighter 2 at 4. Number 3 is Soul Calibur. Number 2 is Smash Brothers Melee, and number 1 is MVC 2. And that's our top 5-ish 6 list.
Trust, I'm much more comfortable debating.
I think Street Fighter needs to be. I think the rest of them are fine. I mean, I'm surprised Soul Calibur showed up as much as it did, but I think that deserves to be at 3 then where it is. So, and then the other 2,
it hit everybody's list.
And Melee,
I think it hit us all at a good time.
And Melee is so weighted for you guys that it needs to be at 2 as well.
Any surprises? Like I'm no Tekken.
Yeah, I thought about it.
I've only played Tekken in arcades a couple times.
Yeah,
that's not.
I'm sorry.
Obviously, Dead or Alive is not on our list.
So hold on. For back to Tekken, I would actually. We're talking about like single player content, but Tekken, I forget which one it was, 2 or 3 on the original PlayStation 1, had like so many cool modes and stuff you could do. Like I didn't enjoy the fighting so much, but like the modes, like there's that volleyball mode or whatever.
The new game is supposed to be very good with that too. 7 is supposed to have a lot of stuff in it.
That's a great story mode apparently.
Yeah.
So,
but yeah, and then Dead or Alive actually, I played
the new ones are not bad.
The last one I have it on PlayStation. And I liked it. Like
I played a lot of Dead or Alive. And
there's some great fighting games we didn't get on our list, but it's only top 5.
Yeah, there's a lot of honorable mentions really. Like Virtua Fighters for me too.
Yeah. So
Virtua Fighter I never got into except for 5 on the Xbox 360.
It's just the first one was such a big deal to me.
Yeah. It was so cool to have that new 3D game. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, see, that was one of those things where like nobody in the Eastern area had the Sega stuff, so it was just like, oh, we don't play Virtua Fighter. But I remember getting.
And it's super expensive in the arcade too, so a lot of times you just rather play like more MVC or something.
Yeah, exactly. But Virtua Fighter, was it 4 or 5? I got one of them on 360, and I was like, wow, this is really cool. I went into the training mode. And I just remember
the last one.
I remember looking at the move list, and I was like, I played a little bit just to like try it out. I played like a day, and I was just like, nope, because I know there will be nobody that will like play this with me. Like absolutely nobody will play this with me.
I just remember Akira like being like.
It seemed really hard.
He was so hard to play. Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So that's our top 5 list of fighting games for the consoles. I hope you enjoyed that. Tune in next week to us. Listen to the MovieCast too. Write us podcast at AllYouCanGeek.net. Follow us on Twitter, AllYouCanGeek. Like us on Facebook, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And we'll do more lists for you coming up, more topics. Hope you like them. Let us know. And thanks. Anybody want to sign off?
Get over here.